Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks, depending on whatever time frame and time zones you guys are based in. I am based in London, so good afternoon from myself. First things first, if you guys can hear me loud and clear, and you can also see my screen, please give me a sound and a screen check by saying yes or no. Great, thank you very much, Amitha. You always first out of the door to answer the questions. Greatly appreciate that. And thank you to everyone else who are also answering by saying yes, that they can hear me loud and clear. So today's webinar, the masterclass, is very much based on Bitcoin, how to trade Bitcoin, and we will share the full agenda shortly on that. But more importantly, this is quite an intriguing time. Priscilla says can't hear but can hear but no screen. Ah, okay. I mean, you should be able to see the screen. Let me just share it one more time. So see if that makes it any better for you guys. Can you guys see the webinar screen, the main webinar screen where it says Masterclass How to Trade Bitcoin? Okay, great, thank you. Right, so this is a great time in terms of Bitcoin, because obviously we have seen Bitcoin prices dropping sharply over the last number of months. Like for instance, Bitcoin is down still year to date by over 48%, and Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency, is down by over 56%. XRP, which once used to be quite an intriguing coin among many investors, is down nearly 54%, just 2% shy from the decline that we have seen in terms of Ethereum's price action. But price action is looking quite promising. Why that is looking promising in terms of Bitcoin and in terms of Ethereum, that would be the part of this particular discussion. So stay tuned, many things to go through in terms of a price action, entry, exit, and remember, this is purely for education purposes. I don't understand your risk, so please do not take this as an investment advice under any circumstances. So a bit about myself. My name is Naeem Aslam. I work as a Chief Analyst for AvaTrade. My wealth of experience spans over 15 years. During this time period, I have worked as a hedge fund trader for Bank of New York Mellon, as an equity trader with Bank of America. Many of you may have seen me on CNBC Bloomberg, where we do our regular contribution on a weekly basis. Here are the social media handles for AvaTrade. I do recommend you guys to follow us there because we do share important information. And my own personal handle is Naeem Aslam 23. That is November Alpha Echo Echo Mike. Naeem Aslam 23. So that is my personal handle. So something that is quite important for me to share with you guys is a unique technology by AvaTrade called AvaProtect. So what is AvaProtect? AvaProtect is a revolutionary one-click risk management tool. So the most important thing is a risk management tool available on AvaTrade, WebTrader, and the AvaTrade Go app. With AvaProtect, you can purchase protection against loss for a defined period after opening a position. If the protection ends and you have an open position that is losing, AvaTrade will reimburse the loss directly into the trading accounts. The only cost is the AvaProtect fee itself. Now, here are the risk warnings once again for you guys. Pay attention to them. Again, nothing can be perceived as an advice. Now, Amutha and a few other people over here in our webinar room, I want you guys to help us with some of the study questions. Some of them will be very, very familiar to you guys, and some of them are just ever changing and evolving. So, for example, this one over here, has it formed a bottom Bitcoin? This is a new one. where is Bitcoin heading? Again, that is quite a new and old one. The information continuously changes. Defining levels is again something new and old one. And other coins we're going to be looking at Ethereum precisely in relation to that. But the first question is very, very much the same one which we ask all the time. So get your fingers ready and then start typing the answer for this particular study question for today, where is what is Bitcoin? How do you define Bitcoin? What does Bitcoin represent for you? Absolutely right on the money, Mutha, as always. The first one, it is a digital currency. Okay, so again, for those of you who don't know, this is a digital currency. Bitcoin is considered as a digital currency. Of course, many of you would say, hey, Naeem, we have this digital currency in our wallet for a long time in terms of our credit cards and debit cards. Yes, that is true. That is also, you could consider that as part of the digital transformation. However, the difference between Bitcoin and other currencies is obviously this is not centralized. No one controls it. There is no one specific government which determines the supply and demand for Bitcoin. And as we know that the supply in terms of a Bitcoin is capped at what number? What is the total supply? I've given you the clues. There you go. 21 million. Absolutely correct. Correct. 21 million is the total supply for Bitcoin, and there's never going to be more than that. And you know, the interesting fact, you know, the inflation rate over in the United States right now, what is the inflation rate in the United States? The inflation rate in the United States as of now is 9.1%. Okay. In the UK, we got our inflation rate today as well, which was about 9.5, if I'm not right, if I'm not wrong, I think 9.5 or 9.6. Nonetheless, the point over here to mention is that the inflation rate in the United States is 9.1%. And guess what is the amount of Bitcoin which is not mined yet? What is the total quantity or the total supply left? The total supply which is left for Bitcoin, which is to be mined, is 9.1%. This is quite an intriguing one, right? So only 9.1% of the Bitcoin supply is really left, which is going to be mined. The rest of them are mined. Now, in terms of a demand, of course, it is going through a volatile period, because before the current crypto winter, we had many investors and traders very much coming in, talking about it, right? And they were really looking to buy, or many of them were participating. Even today, we have a news that one of the biggest French bank called BNP Paribas is getting involved on the custody side of Bitcoin, which is again quite bullish news. Now, how that influences the sentiment, whether the sentiment is still bearish, whether the sentiment is still bullish, we will discuss that all later. But the most important thing when it comes to Bitcoin is that it is a digital currency. The total supply is 21 million. It is not controlled by any entity, by any government, or any one individual. That is the most important thing. Now, the similarities between Bitcoin and gold have always been touted out, right? People have been always thought about that. So both of them provide a hedge against inflation, right? So there's no doubt about that. Now, and then they also provide hedge against uncertainty. Now, of course, these two particular factors, this particular year, they have changed a little bit. Now, for example, if you look at inflation, inflation is at 41 years high in the United States, but Bitcoin is off over 70% from its all-time high. Being a hedge against inflation, that is not really a great performance, because if Bitcoin is really a hedge against inflation, we should have been seeing Bitcoin prices making new all-time highs, not 70% lows from the previous highs. So this particular factor is certainly under question for many investors and traders. Number two, uncertainty. Stock market is down. Like if we look at the S&P 500 index, it is down by 17% year to date. If we look at the Nasdaq index, it is down still 24% year to date, right? So if it is a hedge against uncertainty, we should really be seeing the prices moving to the upside. We should be seeing Bitcoin prices trading in positive territory, not in negative territory. So again, that particular element is also in question. However, if you look at the gold price, gold's performance year to date, gold is also down 6% year to date, but it is not down as much as Bitcoin. So the uncertainty against a hedge against uncertainty, both of them is certainly, there's a question on gold prices, there's a question on that one as well. But generally speaking, these two attributes are very much in focus when we are talking about Bitcoin and gold, because people consider Bitcoin as a digital gold, because you can't take 2 kgs, 10 kgs, or 10 tons of worth of gold with you anywhere, but you could certainly take the same amount of money in terms of Bitcoin anywhere, wherever you want, within a small USB. So that is certainly an attractive part of that. Now, what is moving Bitcoin price? Now, again, Amutha and Priscilla, if I'm pronouncing your names correctly, I want you guys to answer this particular study question. What are the key fundamental factors that have very much been driving the prices in terms of that? Could you perhaps give us some clues in relation? Right. Okay. Demand and supply is one of the answer to my question for sure. But I am really looking at in terms of, you're absolutely right, Amita, in saying that the demand and supply is very much the fundamental on the fundamental side. But on the sentiment side, what caused the massive sell-off in the Bitcoin price? Can anyone answer that particular question? Why we have seen such a massive drop more recently in the Bitcoin price? What was uncertainty? Absolutely. Deflation? Not necessarily. Possible regulation? Yes, that is correct. That is correct. That's not wrong. Yeah, get those answers going, because we wanted to have as many answers as possible, as many guesses. So everyone else, also feel free to participate. Give us your answers. What do you think? What was the cause of the massive sell-off in the crypto space? Why cryptos are down so much? Economy or demand for cash? Okay, Priscilla, you will have to perhaps simplify that a little bit more. So let me give you some clues, and then maybe you guys can build on the basis of that. So a crash with Terra Luna, right? Terra Luna is one of the major project within this space. So that project was turned out to be nothing but just literally, a scam, another scam to grab money, or the model, at least the stablecoin model, didn't really work. But the scam, which really kind of was out there, was Celsius, which filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy now. And they promised massive yields to investors, and then ended up just literally running away, because now those investors who deposited their cryptos, they turn out to be so the assets weren't really covered, basically. So the overall sentiment in the market was very much driving the prices for Bitcoin. And before that, we saw also failure in terms of the price momentum to continue its movement to the upside, from 50,000 to 30,000, then again to a momentum shifting from there onwards to 25,000. So the entire space, it's not that there has been some significant change in fundamentals. Bitcoin is still the same Bitcoin. There's no major change in terms of actual fundamentals. We have more institutions, we have more hedge funds, we have more family offices, we have more banks, we have more family offices, which are very much attractive towards this entire space, and then they are adding to their portfolios. So from that perspective, I'm not worried at all that it is going anywhere. But it is always these scammy projects which come on the market, claim something else, and then they become too big for their own feet. And then when a blowout happens, then obviously it influences the entire sentiment in the market, and that's what very much it. So whether that sentiment or the pessimism is already baked in now, is there anything more worse to come? We will discuss that in the next particular question. But overall, supply is, as Amita mentioned, supply is limited, demand is unlimited. So, the path of least resistance for Bitcoin prices are very much skewed to the upside. Now, the next important study question for everyone is, has it formed a bottom? So I want everyone in this room to give me your opinion by saying yes or no. So the question is, has it formed a bottom? Okay, so we got one yes, and everyone else seems to be still thinking. What about you, Priscilla, and everyone else in the room who haven't really contributed yet or who haven't replied? Do you guys understand? Let me ask this simpler question. Do you guys even understand that has it formed a bottom? What does that really mean? What I mean by that is that the lows that we've seen is already here. Now Bitcoin prices are not going to go any lower than that. That is what we mean by has it formed a bottom. So in very simple English, do you think Bitcoin prices are going to continue to move higher or lower? If you think that the Bitcoin prices are going to continue to move higher, then you should say yes. If you think that Bitcoin prices are going to continue to move to the downside, then you should say no. And of course, everyone else, like Priscilla is saying, consolidating, that is also okay, which means that it will probably move to in the sideways direction with a strong limit. So that's also a great answer. That's okay. So more people are saying yes, the Bitcoin prices have formed a bottom. I still have to see an answer which says no. So no one in this particular room believes that Bitcoin prices are going to go to the downside. Now, there are only two reasons for that. Number one is that you actually truly understand Bitcoin price action and then you think that, yes, everything is already done. Or secondly is that you are being biased and then you already have Bitcoin in your portfolios, in your wallets, and then you are just afraid that and then thinking that okay, Bitcoin prices are not going to go to the downside, they're only going to go to the upside. So you are giving me a biased opinion because I do not see no over here so far in relation to Bitcoin prices forming a bottom. There's only two reasons. Okay, so what do I think about the price? Do I think Bitcoin price formed a bottom? Right. Okay, so I think the Bitcoin price, if it has formed a bottom, there are a number of things that we need to pay attention to, which we will go through on the chart in a bit. And then by looking at that, we will know the clear answer to that. So I wanted to stick to those technical aspects of that study to answer that question. But from the sentiment perspective, if you look at the news flow, we do not see anything more major coming. We've seen a major blowout in the crypto funds like Three Arrow Fund. We've seen number of other crypto lenders blowing out as well. So the domino effect is pretty much done and dusted. Because if there was any more bankruptcies, any major bankruptcies were about to come, we should have come across them by now, because obviously Terra Luna happened well over a month ago, and after that we had news like 3 Arrows, Celsius, Blockify, and all of these ones were very much coming into the play because the prices dropped so significantly. So I think that all the bad news which was supposed to come out in terms of a Bitcoin price, in terms of the cryptos, that's already been there. So we don't have anything else. Secondly, if you look at the Celsius Chapter 11 bankruptcy news, which came out not too long ago, it didn't really have any major impact on the price, meaning that it failed to push the Bitcoin prices to the downside. So one of the biggest a signal that we wanted to pay attention to in the bear market is when negative news stops pushing the prices significantly. This is the key. When negative news stops pushing the prices significantly to the downside, then that means that we are near a bottom, or the price has already formed a bottom. I hope that makes it a lot more clear for you guys. Now, where is Bitcoin price heading? Some people have already said it, that it is possibly moving nowhere and then just moving in the sideways, trading in a range like that. So it's more likely to be like that. Okay, that could be the best case scenario, or the other one could be just like in the same particular not going up, not going down, just in the sideways direction as well. So let's have a look at those particular predictions, what people are talking about from the price chart, and then see if we could simplify them, if we can make sense of those particular ones. But how many of you are currently actually holding Bitcoin in your wallet or have position in Bitcoin really? Can you give me some sort of an estimate so that while we are opening up the AvaTrade platform? So how many people in this room currently have bought Bitcoin and they actually have Bitcoin in the wallet? Amutha saying that yes, holding. Priscilla saying that I've never traded Bitcoin. That's okay. I mean, there is no shame at all. So, if you remember, if you don't understand something or if you don't feel comfortable in something, you don't have to trade it at all. So that's the best way to do it sometime as well. As for myself, I'm a holder of a Bitcoin, and I haven't sold my positions in them. So I'm only adding my positions to them. So okay, I'm gonna start the screen sharing once again. So you should be able to see the AvaTrade in front of you. Okay. So let me just make sure that you guys are seeing that. Yeah, you guys are actually seeing that. That's correct. So in our previous webinars and in our previous videos, which you can see them from AvaTrade's YouTube channel, you will see that we have talked about the possibility of Bitcoin prices falling between 15,372 to 18,977 price level. Now, when we look at the Bitcoin price, you could see that the price actually did flirt with those particular price levels a number of times in a number of weeks. Here, 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 and now the prices are moving to the upside. Now, obviously, this is your weekly chart. What this weekly chart is really telling us that the prices for this particular week is well over the highs of the last 4 weeks. So that gives me quite a lot of assurance in terms of the price action. The price action seems to be, or is looking a lot more bullish for Bitcoin, meaning the path of least resistance for Bitcoin prices is more likely to be skewed to the upside than anything else. Second thing, which is quite an important one, this line over here, which you see it, this is your 200-week moving average, okay? Now, if I click on that, if you click on studies over here, you click on this one, SMA, so you see that I would usually change the color to this one to green, just to differentiate that, right? So the prices are trading above the 200-week moving average, which is certainly a very, very positive sign. Now, if the Bitcoin price has formed a bottom, the answer to that question is really going to be coming from our price action, and then we pay attention to the price action. And the answer is, if the price doesn't fall below the 200-week moving average on the weekly time frame, we can be assured that the bottom is in, and now the path of least resistance for the price action is skewed to the upside, and very, very firmly. Now, if I bring my MT4 platform just to show the same scenario for those of you who are also doing on the MT4, we're going to see the same sort of a price action over here as well. On the weekly time frame, we see the 200-week moving average, the prices have crossed above them. But we are well below the 100-week and the 50-week moving average. The bullish scenario is only going to occur when the 50-day simple moving average continues to trade above the 100-week simple moving average, and that is what is happening, right? So that is okay. So we don't want the 150-week moving average crossing below the 100-week moving average. We want it to stay above that. Just keep that in mind. Now, on the daily time frame, what we really see another bullish signal coming on the daily time frame is the price has crossed above the 50-day simple moving average. Now, pay attention to what I'm about to say. On the weekly time frame, the price is trading above the 200-week moving average, a bullish signal. We want the price to continue to trade above the 200-week moving average. On the daily time frame, we have the price trading above the 50-day simple moving average, which again is a bullish signal. And in order for the price to confirm that it has formed a bottom, we want the price to continue to trade above the 50-day simple moving average, A. B, what I want is I want the 50-day simple moving average to cross above the 100-day simple moving average like it did over here. So we want the curve to change its direction, to tilt, and then move to the upside, and then cross above the 100-day simple moving average. The further confirmation of that is going to be coming when the 100-day simple moving average is going to cross above the 200-day simple moving average. That would confirm. In fact, when the 150 is going to cross above the 100, that is going to give us an early signal that cryptos are going in full throttle. An extra boost for cryptos, the confirmation of that is going to be coming when the 100-day simple moving average is going to be crossing above the 200-day simple moving average, and the 50-day simple moving average trades above the 100-day simple moving average. In addition, the price is trading above all those moving averages. This is the key over here for traders to pay attention to. Any questions on that? Because this is a very, very important point that I've discussed. No, okay. Now, in the last final minutes, we're going to discuss the entry and exits. So this over here is an entry. It was a great entry for those of you who were able to do that, as we mentioned in our previous webinars. The other entry opportunity is right now on your doorstep by placing your stop losses below the 50-day simple moving average. Once again, I wanted to make sure that nothing can be perceived as an advice. This is purely for education purposes only. I don't know your risk metrics, so do not consider anything as an advice. So the second stop loss, so the stop loss can be considered just below the 50-day simple moving average or below the lows of yesterday's, just over here, so 21,000. And let this trade run. Let it run until the price comes into its next resistance level, which is here in this consolidation area, or in around that 32 to 28,000 price level. So your reward is this much your risk right now is only this much. It cannot get any better than that in terms of a risk to reward ratio. The momentum is in your direction. Prices aren't overbought yet, but they're heading there. So that means that we are likely to continue to see this momentum moving to the upside. Now, very, very quickly, in terms of the Ethereum price, let me just bring Ethereum price over here as well. A similar price pattern happening over here, but the risk to reward ratio isn't as great as we have discussed in the other case, and that the other case is obviously Bitcoin's case, right? In the Bitcoin case, the risk to reward ratio is quite attractive. Over here, we have crossed above the 50-day simple moving average. Now, as long as the price stays above that, we will have that confirmation. We already have that confirmation now. The price has formed a bottom. The second bull market signal is going to be coming when the 50 is going to cross above the 100. Same analysis, same analogy as we discussed it in the Bitcoin space. So keep an eye on these particular price levels. But overall, I think that the price, to confirm, I think the Bitcoin prices have certainly formed a bottom over here. And the confirmation of that is going to be, more confirmation of that is only going to be coming while we will see this one as we continue with our current price action, meaning the price needs to stay above those important price levels. And I wanted to pay attention to more price levels and the sentiment than anything else. So that's all for today, folks. And I hope that this was useful. The recording will be available on our YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for attending.